Well, good morning, Reg. BK6BQQ K5HU. Before they get the net started. How are you this morning?
KF5HGU, BK6BQQ. Well, we're doing very well, and I trust everything's good there in Mesquite, Texas. Yeah. Good morning from West Australia.
Yeah, we're doing good. We won't get tied up because I know the net's fixing to start. We've been getting an awful lot of rain, but then we need it, and then we're fixing to get into some hot weather before too long. That's it. Take care. Talk to you later. BK6BQQ K5HU. 7-3, my friend.
Sounds good, sir. You get a chance to get on the net there Friday night.
Yeah, I will. Not too sure if anything else is coming up, but I may be late, but I'll try to get in there. Take care.
Good evening. This is Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Zulu Alpha. My name is Brian, and I am your controller tonight for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. This net is available on the club's VHF repeater and Uplink between 20:30 hours and approximately 21:45 hours local time here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. It is also streamed live on YouTube, where archives of previous nets can be found. Stand by, please. To participate in the net on the VE3MIS VHF repeater, tune 145.430 MHz with a negative 600 kHz offset and a 103.5 Hz tone. To participate on Uplink, connect to the TechLink conference node number 9229, which is this node if you're listening on Uplink already. To listen live on YouTube and comment, search YouTube for VE3MIS. Stand by, please. If you would like to find out more about the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club, visit our website at www.ve3mis.ca. That's Victor Echo 3 Mike India Sierra Charlie Alpha. Our email address is ve3mis@rac.ca. That's Victor Echo 3 Mike India Sierra @Romeo Alpha Charlie Charlie Alpha. Stand by, please. The purpose of this net is to pass news and views along to members and visitors of the club. It also provides experience to volunteer operators in net and emergency operating procedures. All check-ins are welcome, and we especially invite non-members to join in. Stand by, please. Mississauga Amateur Radio Club meets virtually via Zoom conferencing software on the second and fourth Thursday of each month. Our meetings emphasize comradeship and learning and are open to guests and visitors. See our website to learn how to join virtual meetings. Non-members who wish to attend should email ve3mis@rac.ca to obtain instructions for virtual admissions. Stand by, please. And before we get to our check-ins, just a few brief comments. I don't really have too many announcements, although I think the club is looking for anyone, or starting to look for people who are interested in participating in Field Day. So if you have an interest in participating in Field Day, then you can contact the executive, and they can direct you to the organizer. Don't have the person's name off the top of my head at the moment, otherwise I would pass them on. The Cross Canada IRLP Net is held every Wednesday and often heard on the VE3MIS repeater between 11 a.m. and noon. If you're listening in, you don't hear anything, just dial IRLP 9013. Friday night, the TechNet is usually heard on the VHF repeater between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is through this Accolade Conference, number 9229. Stand by, please. Well, we do have a topic for this evening. If you would like to address it, it's completely optional. When we do our check-ins and call for participation, you don't have to address the topic, but you might have something to say, something you'd like to share with others about the topic this evening. And here it is. The radio hobby invites investments, or expenditures, if you want to call them that instead of investments, on all scales. Single dollars or thousands of dollars chase different kinds of equipment, promising to deliver the dreams of amateurs. Which piece of radio equipment has provided you with the most pleasure, learning, or fun for the least amount of money? Once again, which piece of radio equipment has provided you with the most pleasure, learning, or fun for the least amount of money? Stand by, please. This evening, the net will be conducted in 2 rounds, a check-in round and a 7-3 round. During the check-in round, check-ins will be called in 2 broad groups of traffic, short-time check-ins and several check-ins. Emergency check-ins will be taken at any time. Sometimes mobile RF and echo check-ins may be called by themselves to reduce the risk of doubling. Please listen carefully and check in with the group that best matches your circumstances. Kindly avoid transmitting more than 1 minute or so without keying up to prevent system timeouts. Stand by, please. Again, your controller for tonight's net is me, Brian, and my call sign is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha. When checking in, please announce your call sign using phonetics followed by your first name. And let's look for check-ins first. Check-ins on RF. So if you're out there, this is short-time check-ins on RF. So if you're out there on RF and you'd like to check in, now is the time for you. Come now, please, with your call sign spelled phonetically followed by your first name, RF short-time. Okay, nothing heard for RF short time. Let's see if there's anyone out there on digital. And this is going to be short time check-ins on digital. Digital means Echolink or any other system being bridged to Echolink. So if you're out there on digital of any form, short time, come now please with your call sign, spelled phonetically, followed by your first name.
VK 60QQ, Red here in Western Australia. Good morning.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Golf Uniform, Bob, North Central Texas.
Okay, net control acknowledges two short-time digital check-ins, KF5HTU Bob in Texas and VK622, and that is Reg in Australia. Reg is on the other side of the time picture here. He's in the morning, and of course we're in the evening here in North America, or in the Toronto area, Mississauga, so I guess Eastern time. So let's go to Reg first. Reg, I hope all is well with you. And not too much to report here. It's just the same old stuff probably going on here that's going on there with respect to COVID. But otherwise, not too much this week. Over to you.
Yeah, VE3MIS in the group, VK6BQQ. All good here in Western Australia. Sort of a hazy-looking day out here, but we're into our fall, so we can expect whatever. But yeah, all is good. And for those out there, Friday night's still going, so do join us for the Friday night TechNet, Flying Pig Net. All is good. Thanks for hosting the net there, and back to net. VA3AZA from VK6BQQ. Yes, morning time here in Western Australia.
VK6, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Reg, well, good to hear from you. And yeah, just a reminder again to those in the anyone who can hear us, I guess, can participate in the TechNet on Friday night, which in our time zone is between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern time zone, and that can be done from a computer. You can do that from your desktop computer with the Echolink client, or you can do it via our app through any node that happens to be connected. The VE3MIS repeater here in Mississauga is not automatically connected. It has to be connected manually with the conference number 9229, and we did that as a way of we used to have it connect automatically. I don't know if you remember, Reg, but we switched it back to a manual connect just to ensure that people were monitoring the connection. We always had a few concerns there when it connects automatically and nobody's monitoring. But anyway, thank you for the reminder, Reg. And let's see, we've got you down the list here, and glad you're able to come in on the short time here. So let's go down to Bob, KF5HTU. Bob, I hope all is well with you in Texas. Over to you.
VA3AZA, KF5HTU. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that. Yes, all is well here in Texas. We've been getting quite a bit of rain the last 2 or 3 days, which is good.
This is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha. Bob, it dropped out. Your audio was fine there, and it just cut right out. It's almost like, something disconnected somewhere along the line. I just put a message up in the text box there too. Maybe we'll give you one more try here. Maybe you had a little problem with a connection coming out or something or other. Give you another try. We'll keep you on list 2 for a while in case you don't come back. But let's try it again. Bob, net control to KF5HTU. nothing heard coming back from KF5HU. We'll keep him on the list. Maybe we'll give him a chance to come back in, and some minor technical problems there, maybe. Who knows? You never know what ghosts are sneaking around all this equipment and all these network connections. Okay, well, let's see. Are there any other short-time Echolink check-ins? So if you're out there on Echolink or other digital and you'd like to check in, you can't be here for a long time, come down please with your call sign followed by your first name. Okay, nothing heard on further digital short time. So let's go to general check-ins, and we'll call the RF, and then we'll call the digital after that. We'll get a great big block, and we'll go to the top of the list and talk to everyone. So we'll start with the RF check-ins. So anyone out there on RF, in other words, VE3MIS repeater, who would like to join us, come now, please. The call sign spelled phonetically followed by your first name. RF only, please.
Victor Echo 3, X-Ray Bravo Hotel, Brian.
Victor Alpha 3, Mike Alpha, VA3MA.
Victor Echo 3, Whiskey Bravo Foxtrot, Barry. Victor Echo 3, Whiskey Yankee Delta, Peter.
Victor Alpha 3, Hotel Echo Sierra, Mark.
Victor Echo 3, Lima Echo Whiskey, David.
Okay, and control acknowledges, let's see, there's a lot of check-ins there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 check-ins. All but one were RF, and VE3LEW, I've got you. I'll put you at the beginning of the digital group. But we have heard from so far VE3LEW, VA3HES, VE3WID, Peter, VE3WVF Barry, VA3MA Dan, and VE3XVH Brian, and that was on the RF side of things. Now let's take a look on the digital side, and we'll gather up some check-ins via Echolink from whatever digital source people may be coming in from. If you're out there on digital, in other words Echolink for the most part, and you'd like to check in for the first round of the general check-ins, Mississauga Amateur Radio Club 2-meter net, come now please with your call sign spelled phonetically, followed by your first name.
Kilo 2, Delta Yankee, Robert and Sid.
Okay, and control acknowledges DK2GY, Robert in Sydney, for a digital check-in there. Okay, well let's go to the top of the list, and oh gee, maybe I should just check my notes here. Sorry, my chat box here. Okay, I think we're okay. I see VA3GZ is in there. Huh? He wants to check in. I'm going to give him a call. VA3GZ Gary, if you're there on digital, just wonder if you want to check in. Over to you.
Yeah, hi there, Brian, and hi to all the gang. I'm actually also on Jitsi right now with Jerome from Malaysia. I hope he checks into your net here soon there, Brian. Okay, I'd like to take a crack at your question, but first, a lot of the discussion here is about the jam-ups at the airport. You've probably seen it a bit on the news, but people were they took, let's see, a half hour to an hour to check their bags. Then they took 2 hours to get through security, and then they had to clear customs if they were going to the U.S. and then get out to their plane. So people were missing plane flights and everything, and they interviewed the guy from the federal agency that is responsible for security clearance and said, "What the heck's going on?" He says, "Well, there's there's too many people want to fly all at once. I mean, as if the guy couldn't tell by checking with the airlines how many people want the heck to travel, you know. At least COVID is leveling off here in Ontario. It's leveling off. The hospitalizations are at about 40% of the peak that they were at earlier in the year. So we were thinking of it too, but with this chaos at the airport. So one guy said, oh boy, I'm not going to fly now, then I'm going to go take a car trip. Yeah, but gasoline's over $2 a liter. I think tomorrow's a record high in Toronto here. Anyways, I'm going to let it drop for a sec, and I want to take a crack at your question there, Brian, because I think I'm only in for one round, although I know you like to chase me for a second round. So please stand by. Okay, I'm back at you. This is Gary, Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu, in the west end of Toronto. So your question is, what piece of ham equipment gave you the most bang for your buck? So you had me thinking, but let me see, is it the transceiver, but maybe the antenna, because it cost me about half as much for the antenna as the transceiver. And, maybe it's my hotspot, but that cost almost as much as the actually, so my answer is my license. Getting my license gave me the best bang for the buck, because the next day I could be on Echolink for free. So there's my answer. Back to you there, Brian. Thanks for taking the net tonight. This is Gary, Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu.
VA3 GTZ, VA3 today, thank you for saying. Okay, Gary, yeah, the license, I was considering some possible responses to the questions too before the net. I didn't think of that one. That's a good one. That's not that much money, actually. And yeah, it definitely gives you a lot. I mean, just the whole learning process gives you a lot, gives everyone quite a bit of payback in terms of insight for radio. So, okay, Gary, well, we'll keep you. It might be short time, but we'll keep you on this anyway. And I'm going to go back up to my big long list here of RF check-ins, and at the very top of the list I have Brian, VE3XBH. And Brian, I hope all is well with you, and come on in. We'll pass it to you. Net control to VE3XBH.
VA3AZA, VE3XBH. Good evening, Brian, and everybody on the net. All good here. Not much going on, and we're a little wet. We have to dry the dog off every time she comes in, but she doesn't seem to mind. So other than that, all is good. And as far as your question, I'll just drop for a second. I was kind of thinking what gave me the most bang for the buck, and I guess, you know, Gary had a good point about just getting your license. I kind of thought the first antenna was probably the best. I had some spare wire kicking around the house, so that didn't cost me much of anything, and had some connectors, so I just needed a piece of coax and put it up, and it worked quite well for probably 6 months or so until I put up a little bit better antenna. But so I guess that probably was the most. But as far as radios go, I guess it was probably my handheld. That was the first one that I bought, and of course made some of those first contacts on it, and really enjoyed that, and didn't have to spend a huge amount of money. But other than that, I'll just say hi to everybody. Hope everybody's well, and I'll listen along. Send it back to you, Brian. VA3AZA, VE3XBH.
VE3XBH, VA3AZA, the controller training. Okay, Ron. Yeah, those are pretty good answers. Everyone's going to have probably a little bit of a different answer, and they're all strong in their own way because they just reflect their personal experience. But the wire is a good one. The wire, that's one that I anticipated, and certainly, for a very small investment, one has this apparatus, which helps you reach out to the rest of the world, but the HT as well. And it's funny you mentioned the HT. When I think back to the first HT I had, oh my goodness, I did so much with it. I carried it around with me. I used it in the car. I put the mag mount antenna on the, on the roof of the car, and I can remember. I think I was talking to my ex-wife the other day of how she used to go up and down the 400 and I'd talk to people on this HT. It was a VX6 with the mag mount attached to the roof of the car until I got a sort of more powerful mobile radio. So, there's all sorts of enjoyment can take it from those things. I guess sometimes, it's hard to tell. The antenna and wire is relatively cheap, and HT is a little bit more expensive, of course, but, it still takes you a long way down the path, both of them, and they all have different experiences. Anything else you want to add for the first round ride over to you from VE3 today to VE3XPH?
VE3AZA, VE3XPH? Well, not really. I'll just listen along, see what everybody else has to say. Sounds like we got a pretty good group tonight, and you got a long list. So I'll let you get to it, Brian. So we'll be listening along, and I'll be around for the 7-3. VE3AZA, this is VE3XPH.
Oh, the VE3XPH, VE3 today. Okay, Brian. Well, we got you on the list, and we'll look for the second round too. That brings me down to VE3MA, and that's Dan. Dan, hope all is well with you this evening, and we'll pass it over to you. Net control to VE3MA.
That's VE3MA in Etobicoke. Thanks for hosting this every Tuesday pretty well. Really appreciate your time. And we're up here in Etobicoke near the Old Mill subway station on the 19th floor, but I'm only 18 floors up since they don't like to put a 13th floor in. And the best bang for the buck I got, the life story is I got my ticket when I was 15 years old in 1958, and between that and the association with my uncle, I learned technology very early, and as a result gave me a career in technology that did me quite well, retiring as a vice president of technology for a large communication company. And we've had a lot of fun, so that's the biggest bang for the buck that I got. And talking about bang for the buck, we're in the apartment here. I've accumulated over years a lot of ham equipment, so I'm decided that I'm in my 80th year now, so I went down to the storage area and brought all the boxes up, and they're all over the dining room floor here of all the contents, mainly because my wife is over in London, England, visiting our granddaughters and my daughter for a couple of weeks on a little holiday that I asked her to do, since she was really hankering to get away somewhere. So I'm sorting through everything, and there'll be a lot of listing on the Quark and Facebook and the Mississauga Group IO of the stuff that I'm going to get rid of. So back to you there, VE3MA here in Etobicoke.
VE3MA, VE3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Dan, very, very good. That's quite a payback. I mean, you start with a license, you end up with the executive suite for a communications company. Not bad. Pretty good bang for your buck. Good value. And it sounds like you do have a lot of stuff there. I saw some of your notices for equipment this month in your email and such. So I'm sure people will be able to pick that up, and some people who are around the property plus, or if not, maybe you're advertising through Facebook will do that as well. But thanks for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. If I remember correctly, I think in your building, I don't know whether it faces the repeater, because I remember sometimes it was a challenge if to get through. Sometimes you're lucky. But I'm just curious, before I go on to the next call sign, do you face the repeater, or are you facing away from the repeater and coming all the way through the building to get to VE3MAS? Net control to VE3MA.
Well, I actually face west-northwest, just off of west. And I am on my little 5-watt Kenwood here with a little teeny rubber ducky leaning against the glass here, which seems to be getting me out okay, and I'm getting full quieting in this position. I had to sort of find a spot to lean it against the window, and it seems to be getting out okay, so maybe you can tell me whether or not I'm quieting it or not. But I must admit, being on the other side of the building would be really great for ham radio, because you face over to the east and for UHF and VHF. But I'll tell you, the folks on the other side there, when that sun comes up, they put all their blinds down. So it's a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. VE3MA.
VE3MA, VE3MA, next short. Okay, yeah, that's you sound good. You're getting through. No, you're highly readable. There's an occasional pop in there, but nothing, really nothing worth mentioning. And so you're getting out very well and getting into the repeater and coming across on Echo Link. Because I'm sitting on the Echo Link side right now, and it's passing through very, very nicely. So it's good that that you can get through. Yeah, I guess if you're northwest, maybe there's like a slight edge that's you're sort of. I guess we would be south. To the south of you. But anyway, it's working well, and I'm glad you're able to join us. Okay, let's go down to Barry, VE3 WBF. Barry, come on in. I hope all is well with you. I control the VE3 WBF.
VA3AZA, this is VE3 WBF. I'm very well today. I was going out for a bike ride, but it rained on me, so that squashed that. As to big bang for the buck, I actually, probably way back in the day when I was in my early teens, I was building radios, and these were tube jobs. So I built a regenerative set with a large power supply and a Heathkit shortwave receiver, and that's probably the most fun I've ever had. And then I got out of radio for a long time, and then got back into it several years ago and got my license. So that's basically where I sit, and I'm not too sure whether that would be the biggest bang for the buck yet, but we'll soon find out. Over.
VE3 WBF, VA3AZA net controller training. Okay, Barry, yeah, for sure. So that first experience with those components for shortwave radio, I guess, presumably it was a receive. Sounds like that was the fuel for a very long interest. I know you said you had a break there in ham radio, but then it came back later on, and it just shows you, I guess, you didn't really let it go when you started working with radios. You always wanted to come back to it, and in fact you did. So that's good. Anything else on the first round, Barry, that you want to add? That controls to VE3 WBF.
No, that's it for me, and I will be one and done. I won't stay around for the second go, so I'll say my 73s right now, and I'll listen on to the end. Over.
VE3 WBF, net control. Okay, Barry, we got that. So this will be one round only, and you're setting 7-3. Well, we're glad you made it in. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Let's go down now to VE3 WID. That's Peter Brampton. Peter, hope all is well with you. And I don't know if you had any adventures there on the C4FM lately, but maybe you can tell us. But the big question tonight is, what piece of equipment gave you the greatest amount of learning or enjoyment or fun for the least amount of money? And if you're open to address it if you want. Net control to VE3 WID.
Hello, Net Control. This is VE3 WID. Doing well here. In answer to the question, I guess the biggest bang for the buck. Well, I realize with ham radio you got to spend a little money to get something. but the best deal I got was my power supply, my radio, FT897D, and the antenna all in one shot from a ham that was retiring and couldn't take the equipment with him where he was going. So in a way, they sort of passed it on to me, and it sparked my interest in the hobby. I like the Yaesu line. I also like the ICOM. So have handy-talkie ICOM, handy-talkie Yaesu. I like the Wires X. So I think it all gives me a good bang for the buck. Back to you.
VE3WYD, VA3AZA, next short train. Okay, Peter, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. They'll both keep that. Both of those HDs will keep you busy for lots of time. Actually, that's a great. I always like doing that. You know, sometimes people don't like playing around with the configuration menus and such in their radios, but I have to admit that it's sort of I like doing that and sort of exploring it. So those two HTs with all the digital support in them will keep you very busy exploring the various settings. So yeah, they definitely give you a payback in that regard for sure. Anything else you want to add for the first round there, Peter? Over to you.
Yeah, I would just like to say that Dan, VA3MA, he was coming across to the repeater, I guess 5959. He sounded really good this evening. So that'll be all. Back to net control. This is VE3WYD. I'll stay around for the second round.
VE3WYD, VA3AZA, net control. Okay, Peter, and we'll keep you for the second. I think you said you'd be there for the second. And yeah, Dan did sound very good. He was getting in, no problem. He definitely found the right place by the window to get a good line of sight, and he sounded really good. By the way, I just want to acknowledge a couple of call signs here. I should have acknowledged them earlier, actually. I saw them up there, too. Let's see. This is 9W8YSH, so it's 9 Whiskey, 8 Yankee, Sierra Hotel, and that is Jerome. I've got you on the list here, Jerome. And WA6UVW, I'm just going to check that one. WA6, I can see it on the list here, WA6. Yeah, UVW, and that is Don. So we've got you down, and we'll get you in a couple of check-ins here. And just wanted to let you know I did get you on the list. Okay, Peter, well, thanks for joining us. Let's go to VA3HES, and that is Mark. And Mark is handling our YouTube simulcast. And we thank him very much for his participation and support during that. And let's see what Mark is up to. Net control to VA3HES.
VA3AZA, VA3HES. Well, good evening, Brian and all on net. Mark here in Mississauga. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. Just search for Victor Echo 3, Mike India Sierra on YouTube, and you'll find our live stream and a playlist with all our past live streams. First thing, you did mention field day. Yes, the club is planning field day again. I'm going to drop for a second. So field day is coming up at the end of June, and myself, Joseph, VE3GKT, along with Mike Wild, we're starting to make plans. So Joseph has posted on the club's reflector a number of questions. If you are interested in participating, just look for that Field Day 22 or 2022 rather thread and reply there. Not much going on with the repeater. It's been noisy the last couple days, but it seemed to have cleared up. I'm going to drop for a second. And to answer the question of the evening, I'm going to say the best bang for the buck is the spool of number 16 gauge stranded wire my father gave me right after I got my license, because I've made a whole whack of great off-center fed and vertical antennas with it. And I've worked some good DX with both of these antennas, so for free, I definitely got the best bang for the buck there. I'm also lucky I have two really good transceivers, my Yaesu 991 Alpha and the little IC 705. So But I'd say the wire wins for the best bang for the buck. Back to you, Brian.
VE3 HEF, VE3 AZ next door train. Okay, Mark, sounds good. And yeah, I guess the wire has pulled a first place for on a few occasions this evening. I guess that was one I thought might come up. But yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, it just it gives you all sorts of possibilities with design. Obviously, with the wire, it's not that difficult to build different types of antennas, simple antennas, and it's amazing what you can do with them. It's astounding. Yeah, good for you. That's always a good source of experimentation. And yeah, Edward Peter seems fine. I wasn't listening to it earlier today, but it seems fine. And who knows what? There may be some interesting sources of interference from various places, but we're not sure what. Anyway, thanks for handling all that for us. You do an excellent job, and we're really grateful for that. Next on the list is VE3LEW, and I wrote your first name down, but I can't read my writing now. Isn't that terrible? So you'll have to give us your first name again. VE3LEW, over to you.
Okay, very good. My name is David in East York, and I'm coming through on All-Star, and there it sounds good here. So, yeah, we're just, we don't have too much to add. Everybody's sounding good here this evening and on the net, and good evening to Bob there in Australia, BQQ, and anyway, and I guess Bob over there in Texas. Anyway, I don't have too much to add to that, but just thought we'd pop in and give you a check-in and just listening along, and I'll probably be listening, but I probably won't be in for another round.
VE3LEW, VHAZ, net control tune. And David, okay, that's great. No, that's fine. If you're able to just check in on this round, that's fine, David. And yeah, you're the reason we call it digital. I have to kind of remind myself all the time about some of the terminology we use when we're looking for check-ins. For so long we said Acrolink or IRLP. At one time we were on IRLP, working through that. But nowadays, of course, there are bridges between systems. So the endpoint may be Acrolink, but the point of origin may be something else. I guess you're coming in All-Star, so that's really neat. Well, thanks for joining us, and we're here every Tuesday at 8:30 until 9:30 or whenever we finish. And certainly you're welcome to join in and listen to whatever you like. So I'm glad you're able to make it in tonight. Okay, let's go to Robert. He's a long way away. He's way over there in Australia. And Robert, I hope all is well with you this evening. Net control to VK2DY.
Control, this is Victor Kilo 2 Delta Yankee in Kellyville Ridge, New South Wales. And all part of the urban sprawl that is Sydney. 11:10 a.m. Here on Wednesday morning. Bright, beautiful day. 24 degrees Celsius, headed for a high at 28. Sky is absolutely clear. Just looking outside at the moment, and the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. Third month of autumn, and we're still going to hit 28 degrees. So pretty nice weather here. Other than that, we had our Ham Fest last Sunday. Called Mayhem. Took place up in the Central Coast, and it was well attended. You have to realize there's only about 14,000 hams here in Australia, and we probably got an attendance of close to 2,000. So, 1 out of every 7 hams in Australia is a pretty decent attendance, I guess. It's all relative. So that was good.
And as far as the question goes, I've been thinking about this, and there's a lot of answers I could give, but I think the answer I'm going to give is my thumb DV. $100 US, and I've got it plugged into a Nook running Ambi server, and I've got that thing running digital on a couple of mobile PCs, on a little Android watch, which is my favorite thing. And I can talk to D-Star, DMR, via all of these devices, and a single thumb DV stick. So it opened up four different digital modes to me at the price of $100. So I think that's a pretty decent deal. VK2DY, back to net.
VK2DY, VA2A today, net control return. Okay, Robert, yeah, thumb DV, very interesting, and it gave you access to all those modes. Yeah, that's a good point. I know I had, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I have a Raspberry Pi, and there's a board, a hat they call it, an add-on board that you stick on for access to the digital mode, and it is called, I forgot the name, Zoom Spot, I think. I remember John, Whiskey Mike, told me about it. He had one, so I bought one and tried it online. That thing was great. It was really wonderful. You could do a number of these digital modes with Zoom Spot plus the right distribution of Linux on the Raspberry Pi. But that always opens lots of doors too. Okay, Robert, we'll keep you on the list for a second go here too. And let's see. That brings me to the new call signs. Jerome, 9W8YSH, that's 9 Whiskey 8 Yankee Sierra Hotel. Jerome, if you're there and you want to come on in, please do so. I'll pass it to you. That controls to 9W8YSH.
'Brian, this is Jerome, 9W8YSH. From Borneo Island, 450 miles due east of Singapore. And I'm on GC video conference with Gary and Don. The weather here today, this morning, is cloudy and it's going to rain. Temperature 27 degrees Charlie and 81 Foxtrot. And I'm a regular check-in with Red VK6 BQQ. This is the first time I'm on this net on a Wednesday morning. Time here is 9:15 a.m. The same time zone with Red VK6 BQQ, and that's all for my report today. I'd like to pass back to you.
9W8YSH, this is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha. Okay, Jerome, fantastic. So you're a little bit, you're close to Singapore, and you're reaching us from all the way in the same part of the world that Red Shell's from. So great to have you on the net tonight. This is our local net for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club, Mississauga Amateur Radio Club here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. We're kind of where Buffalo, New York is. We're a little bit, we're not quite there, but an hour and a half away from New York, or an hour away or so. But great that you're able to join us, and it sounds pretty good. The digital voice is doing a good job reaching around the world, and sometimes that isn't always the case with our app, is that sometimes we struggle a bit to be heard on our app. Sometimes we don't, though. Sometimes it's like people that are right beside you, and they're on our app halfway around the world. Anyway, sounds like the weather's good. 27 degrees where you are. Thanks again for joining us. I'll keep you on the list to call you for a second, go. I'm just going to take a quick break. Stand by, please. Net control is returning. Okay, and so Jerome will keep you on the list for our 7-3 round here too, if you're able to join us. And I also have a WA6UVW, and that is Don. Don, if you're still there and you want to come in, please do so. Net control to WA6UVW. Okay, nothing heard from WA6UVW. Maybe stepped away from the computer there. We'll give him a call a second ago as well. And let's see, that brings me to the end of my list of call signs. Is there anyone else out there who'd like to check into the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net at the end of the first round? And once we finish up, we'll go around for our 7-3 round. But if there's anyone else out there who'd like to join us, come out please with your call sign spelled phonetically followed by your first name.
Brian, this is Jerome here again, 9W8YSH. Don, WA6UVW has informed us that his area, which is in Calimesa, California, is affected by solar flares right now, and is affecting his transmission. So he's unable to check in. Don, can you hear me, Don? Don, can you hear me? Okay, you can actually talk. I can put you on speaker, and you can actually talk. Can you just hold a minute? Okay, Don, you go ahead and talk.
Okay. I'm an ex-U.S. Air Force CW operator, Korea Warrior, and I still operate CW. The best radio I've got is a little XIGU GM1 5-watt CW rig that I use all the time, make a lot of contacts with. And we've been talking to Gary and Jerome here on Gypsy, and we're having a whole bunch of radio interruptions from all the solar flares. It's almost wiped us out down here. That's why I couldn't get through to you. For some reason, I can get through to Borneo, but I can't get through to next door. So back to you, and thanks for letting me in. Bye-bye.
Okay, 9W8YSH, Jerome, thank you very much for that relay. Thanks for clarifying the few connection problems for Don. And I was able to hear Don. I had my headphones pushed against my ear, but I heard Don. And yeah, Don identified the best bang for his buck as a 5-watt, I believe, CW rig. So that sounds really good. So you're being quite creative there and ingenious and getting Don in there, Jerome. So thanks very much for that. And Don, we definitely got your check-in and definitely heard your comments. So that's excellent. Okay, well, let's see if there's anyone else out there who would like to join us at the end of the first round here. So RF or Aqualink, if you're out there and you'd like to jump in, come now please with your call sign spelled phonetically followed by your first name.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Golf Uniform, recheck, please, Brian.
KF5HG, Bob. Oh, of course, Bob. Yep, we was going to call you again. I know. I think you disappeared on us while you're in the middle of the last check-in or the last QSO. But yeah, we'll pass it over to you. Net control to KF5HG.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I knew you were coming back to me, but I was going to have to get off here, and I wanted to be sure I got in there before I got lost again. I knew I had an update going on in the background, and I was hoping it would wait until I got through at least talking to you, but it didn't happen that way. And it took me a little while to get back in. I've been on ham for a while. I couldn't get into TechLink, but then I finally did get back into TechLink. But anyway, that's good. And I'm glad you got Jerome in there. Jerome's been a regular on Reg's net, and I've chatted with him a couple times. But it's amazing. He's 400 miles from Singapore, or Borneo. I kept thinking Borneo. That's where he was, but he's in there quite regularly. And Robert and Brian and Carl. Gary, and all the rest of the guys. I really enjoy listening to the Mississauga net on Tuesday night, and I'm glad Jerome got in there. I mentioned it to him, and he picked me up on it. But that's about it. And let me close. Thanks, Brian, for doing the net. Doing a great job. I appreciate it always. And you asked me about your question. Of course, I'm a two-timer on the net. I had an amateur radio license back in 1965, and then it was a novice license, and a friend helped me, or a fellow taught me, got me into it, and he gave me a deal, so that was pretty good thing, and it was CW all in. And then when I got back in 15 years ago, I guess it was, the handy-talkie and IRLP and VOIP, IRLP and Echolink and all of those modes. Some folks didn't think it was really radio, but I did, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. Brian, thanks again. Nice to talk to you, and hope to talk to you next week. Take care, my friend. VE3AZA, K5HQ, 73 all to the net.
Okay, at 5HQ, VE3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Bob, always a pleasure to hear from you. And yeah, I like your answers there. Some early equipment, and then of course the digital modes. Yeah, I guess someone's pointed out too as well. You know, once you got your license, at least recently, within the last 15 to 20 years, when some of these digital modes are around, you could go right to Echolink. You really could. You didn't even have to have a radio. You could work right from Echolink because of the emergence of all of the voice over IP technologies. So yeah, that's quite a bit of bang for the buck there too. I guess you have to have a computer, but most people have computers anyway for other purposes. So I guess they're getting wrestle the most value from the computer. Excellent to hear from you, Bob. Hope to hear from you next week too. Always look forward to that. And let's see, that brings us to the end of the list. We'll go back up to the top here and maybe call upon a few call signs. Let's see, I think Reg is still here. I'm going to give him a call. So Reg, you're at the top of the list, VK6BQQ. You can come on in for 7-3 if you want. Maybe any closing thoughts. Net control to VK6BQQ.
VE3AZA, VK6BQQ. Well, I've been in and out of the room here, and I just got back in here, so yeah, all good. And I see you've got another station in there. Ken's out on the west side of the U.S., KB0ROT, so you might want to bring him in. But all good here. Yeah, geez, radio-wise, working with GE and Motorola ends up with a lot of commercial stuff, and well, being the way it was, why a lot of it was converted over into amateur radio. So I've basically stuck with the commercial radios as they meet the requirements, and all is good. Right now, the only radios we have is an IC208H. So it works very good. And, of course, Echolink. It gets me around the world. Brian, great to hear you in here, and great to hear Bob in from Texas. And as I say, KB0ROT's there. You might want to bring him in. Back to net. VK6BQQ Australia. Good morning.
VK6BQQ, BACA today, making sure return. Okay, Reg, glad to hear from you. And yes, it is morning. You're looking at the rest of the day. So we're kind of looking back. You're looking forward to the rest of the day. We're looking back. We're here in Mississauga. But good to hear from you. And yeah, you got to play with all that radio stuff for free. If you work for Motorola, boy, they must have had good toys. That's all like. And then all that stuff in the world of aviation too. That must have been lots of fun. Aero radio equipment and stuff. such. Let's start talking about that sometime. Anyway, good to hear from you. And actually, I am going to call on Ken right now. And Brian, Brian, I'll call you in the second VE3XBH, but I think I'll give Ken a try, just in case he's waiting. I didn't look up on my screen there. So let's see if Ken wants to come in. KB0ROT. KB0ROT. If you'd like to join us, come on in. Net control over to KB0ROT.
Yeah, okay. I just just tuned in here on the net, so I'm kind of catching the tail end of it there. Didn't get in quick enough to be here for the start anyway, but we're doing good here in South Dakota. I'm northeast of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, about 50 miles, a little town called Madison. So it's been pretty decent. Went out and planted my tomatoes and potatoes and all kinds of vegetables, you know, but as far as any equipment goes there, I got a Kenwood TS570D, of course, there, and got a 5-element beam there, and I have a hex beam I want to be putting up here sometime this summer anyway, and that's about it at this end anyway. So it might be the first time I checked into this net, so I'm going to make note of it and try to make it a little bit more often in here to join you up there in Canada as well. Okay, with that, 73s from KB0ROT here at Cannon, South Dakota. 73s. Thank you for checking in.
KB0ROT, VE3MIS today, Net Control Training. Okay, Ken, well, you're welcome to check in anytime you like. This net is held between 8:30 and 9:30 or thereabouts, maybe sometimes a little bit later. On Tuesday nights, it's the net for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club. It's open to anyone, and we're glad you're able to make it in. Sounds like you've got some ambitions for the summer, some antenna ambitions, and that sounds interesting. I'm sure down there in South Dakota, you're probably pretty warm there in the summer, I would think. It's just a mid-continent, and it can be hot in some of those places, but anyway, that's a good time to be inside with the air conditioning on and doing radio. Or sometimes it's nice to be outside too. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and feel free to join us anytime you wish. We're here every Tuesday night. Let's get out to VE3XBH. Brian, we'll pass it over to you for some 7.3s and concluding thoughts. Net control to VE3XBH.
VA3AZA, VE3XBH. Well, Brian, thanks for doing the net this evening. Nice to hear Bob in there and Reg in there and all the regular gang. Good hearing everybody, and not really much else to add, so I'll just say 7-3 to everybody. Have yourself a good week. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again. VE3AZA from VE3XBH.
VE3XBH, VA3AZA, Net Control City. Okay, Brian, good to hear from you too. You're always a regular here. We got some new people too. We've got Jerome, and we've got Don, and we've got Ken. So we've got 3 check-ins there. Oh, we've got David too. David, I think this is his first time checking in. It might be. That's VE3LEW. So it's always nice to have some people from other places coming in, checking in the first time. Certainly they're always welcome to participate. Let's see. And next on my list is Dan, VA3MA. I don't remember whether Dan said he'd be here, but we're going to give him a try anyway. Dan, if you're there, come on in for a 7-3 round. Net control to VA3MA.
Okay, Brian. Lots of people on there tonight. I guess a little adjustment needs to be made to the Echolink audio input. A lot of distortion. Kind of hard to copy a few folks, and really rattling the speaker here, so maybe Mark can turn the input audio down a little bit for the repeater. I think that would help a bit. But I see it's rained again, and I guess we're going to rain for quite a few days. So, and thanks for the report, folks, in terms of me getting into the repeater with the rubber ducky and the handheld. So much appreciated. So I'll say good evening to everybody, and keep safe. Talk soon. VA3MA. Take check.
Okay, I think I heard someone in there. I think it was either a recheck, but Dan, thanks very much for joining us. Glad to have you. And yeah, you sound great. So it didn't have any difficulty coming in, and good to hear you. Let's see. I think there may have been someone in there just after your transmission. Was there someone trying to check in? Try again.
Roger, Brian, it was a late check. VA3KDY back to VA3AZA. Brian, I just able to connect, and hopefully that you can hear me and just take me in for a check.
VA3KDY, VA3AZA, net control returning. Kevin, excellent. Oh, I'm glad you broke in there. That's we got your check-in, a copy of it, and it's been a while since I've heard from you, but it's very nice to hear you again. And is there anything you want to add? We're just going through our 7-3 round here. Anything you'd like to say? VA3AZA over to VA3KDY.
VA3KDY back to you. I just wanted to say, Brian, you sound different. I don't know if you got a new rig or a new microphone or something, when you sound a little different to my ears anyway. It sounds good, just different. And no, nothing there. I'm just stopping by to say hello. VA3KDY. We'll send it back to net. And thanks for checking me in.
VA3KDY, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Kevin, good to hear from you. And if I sound a bit different, it could be a lot of times I do the net through our app, and maybe you might be used to hearing me through the microphone on my HD, because that's how I did it. But I'm doing it on Accolade through the headset, so it could be the headset, just giving it a little slightly different sound. But anyway, good to hear from you. And let's see. Barry. Okay, Barry, he said he wouldn't be here. I think Barry said he wouldn't be here. Let's try Peter, VE3WYD. Peter, if you're still there, come on in for a 7-3 round. Over to you.
VA3AZA, this is VE3WYD, Peter. I'm still here. I've been listening. Nice to hear all the calls coming in from all over the world. Through Echolink, enjoying the net, nothing else to add, keeping it short, 73, have a good night. Back to net control.
VE3WYD, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Peter, well, thank you for joining us. Good to hear from you. We'll hear from you, we hope, next week as well. Maybe I'll even get my radio hooked up here, listen to the Canadian net tomorrow night on Myers X. I think it'll get better. It does work. I got it to work again. I was listening to it, and I usually set that from at the very least. I don't always check in, but I usually listen to it. Anyway, we'll see how that goes for tomorrow. Let's see if Mark is still there. Mark, VA3HES, come on in for the 7-3 round. Over to you.
VA3AZA, VA3HES, well, 7-3, Brian, and thanks for hosting the net again tonight. Good one. Nice to hear everybody checking in from all over the place. And just a reminder, if you're thinking about coming to Field Day, please take a look on our group's I.O. and look for the thread for Field Day 2022 and respond. Many thanks again, and catch you all next week, 7-3. Back to you, Brian.
VA3HES, VA3AZA. Okay, Mark, excellent. Thanks for the reminder about Field Day. So on the group's I.O., we can find information. There's a thread there about Field Day, and people can get connected with others who are organizing or participating in Field Day for the club. Thank you for that, and thank you for handling the YouTube live stream as well. And let's see, David, who is the call sign VE3LEW. David, if you're still there, you can come on in and give us any closing thoughts in our 7-3 round. Net control to VE3LEW. Okay, nothing heard from VE3LEW. Let's try Robert back in Australia, VK2DY. Robert, over to you.
Good morning again. This is Robert, VK2DY in northwestern Sydney. Not much more to add. I was just reading an article here that Qantas is purchasing some A350 jets that'll be able to do a non-stop flight to London from Sydney. Wow. The 20-some hours on a flight. I don't know how that would be, but looking forward to seeing that happen, I guess. Anyway, thank you again for a wonderful net, and 73, VK2DY, back to net.
VK2DY, VA3A net control returning. And Robert, good to have you. Nice to hear from you this week, and we'll look forward to hearing from you next week too. But yeah, the 20-hour flight, I don't, I think as I get older, I'm not crazy with the idea of spending such a long period on a passenger jet. I'm kind of tall, so I don't really fit too comfortable. Well, I fit reasonably well enough, I guess, into those passenger seats. But it's a tiny bit. I'm getting a little bit claustrophobic. 20 hours is a long time. That's a long time to be sitting in one of those seats. But anyway, I guess for some people it's tolerable. And thanks for joining us. Let's see. Well, let's see if Gary's there. Up to call again. And VA3GZ, Gary, if you're there, you're on my list, Gary. So I'm going to call you. If you're there, come on in for any 7-3 thoughts. I control the VA3GZ. Okay, nothing heard from Gary. And let's see, Jerome, who is near Singapore. Well, not too, I guess 400 miles or so from Singapore. Jerome, if you're there and you want to come in and give us any closing comments, please feel free. And we'll pass it to 9W8YSH, that's 9 Whiskey 8 Yankee Sierra Hotel. Jerome, we'll pass it to you. Okay, I think actually I didn't check my list. I should have checked the screen here, but I think Jerome is not in the conference anymore. Let's see if Don is there. I'll check the list this time. I don't think he's there. I don't think Don is on the list. But Ken is KB0ROT. Ken, you're still there, so we'll give you a call here on the 7-3 round. Net control to KB0ROT.
Yeah, okay. I'm just kind of listening along and kind of enjoying the net as well. So not much else news happening this way. I talk to Reg quite often there, and Jan DeCott, anyway, known him for a while, and checked into the TechNet. I'm sure you all do as well. So I kind of feel part of the family there anyway. So with that, we'll let you go, and we'll turn it on back to the net there. Thanks so much. Name here, by the way, is Ken, Kilo Echo November.
KB0ROT, VA3A net control returning. Okay, Ken, yeah, we got you there. And yes, you're with the fraternity of Reg. And I put you as a brethren here, I think, who are connected to Reg. Anyway, but actually, my name, by the way, is Brian. I don't think I didn't repeat it too often, but it's first name is Brian, and it's a pleasure to have you on the net here. Okay, that brings me to the end of my check-in list, I believe, my call sign list. And let's see if there's anyone else out there who would like to check in at the end of the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club's 2-meter Tuesday night net. Of course, we have a broader reach than 2 meter. We're on Echo Lake as well. And let's see if there's anyone else out there who'd like to check in. So if like to check in, come now please with your call signs spelled phonetically, followed by your first name. Okay, nothing good. At the end of the 7-2 round for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday night now. Well, I guess we'll close her up. So, thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any comments, thoughts, or suggestions, you can contact us via email at VE3MIS@rac.ca, and that's Victor Echo 3, Mike India Sierra, at Romeo Alpha Charlie Charlie Alpha. This is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha, closing the net and returning the repeater to general use in about 15 minutes. It will disconnect automatically from Equinite, from Conference 9229. Thank you all for your participation. As usual, it was a pleasure. And 7-3.